And for sure, we would like to ask for your energy reading, and you have some suggestions for our shadow work.
Okay. All right. I want everybody to think about their lives.
Think about what?
Their lives, like what they're doing in life. Think about your life. That's interesting. The energy that there's, it's sort of like,
What?
Hopelessness?
yes, it's hopelessness. The energy in this group that's dominant is kind of like I'm trying everything and nothing working.
If you can speak slowly, because of the connection. Yeah.
Okay, the vibration that everybody shares is the feeling that they've been trying and trying and trying, but it's not working.
We are saying yes. Okay. So
If I don't positive net,
we have to stop trying.
Try harder.
do you want positive before we go into what you should do?
Yes,
Got it?
yes, please.
Strategy is the dominant positive vibration of the group.
Okay. What does it mean?
It means being able to figure out a way to make it work. It's like a form of creativity.
Okay.
So let's say that you have to build a pyramid. There has to be a strategy for how to get those big people up on the top of the pyramid. And that way of thinking is strategy.
Okay.
So I really like that vibration.
And powerful.
Oh yay, put me over to that side, yeah.
What?
Okay, so what this group really needs to do is figure out the real victims they have behind what they're trying to do and try.
What?
So we have to figure out, and then
The real motivations behind what you're doing and why you're trying to do it.
motivation.
Yeah, like one of the main reasons that things haven't been working, there's many reasons, but one of the main reasons that things haven't been working for people in this group is because you don't actually want what you think you want. So it's like there's a fragmentation within your personality spectrums that's severe enough that one aspect of you wants something, and the other aspect doesn't want it at all. It and even the one that's going for what it wants, it's because of another reason. So it's like it's because that would get you. So it's like you're jumping through unnecessary hoops. Does that?
I don't understand.
Yeah, the last sentence, if you can repeat.
Yeah, like when you're going after something that you think you really want, but you're doing it for another person, it's like you're jumping through a hoop. You don't have to do that. So I'll give you an example. Somebody might say, what I want more than everything is money. But they want that because if they get money, people will respect them. So then it's about, why do I want respect? What respect? Now, if I find out that answer, I might want something totally different than money. But our persons are totally aware of actual desire. So when we try to go in the direction of money, and that's actually not what we really want, versus like, no, it's not happening. You see? Does that make kind of more sense?
So we are a little bit shocked here.
So I have problems hearing Teal. I think it's the connection problem. Yeah. Maybe we could try to turn on the video because I really have trouble understanding what's said. You understand?
So
she can just speak slower.
Yeah, maybe a little bit slower for So what do we can do with that?
You have to figure out exactly what you want by figuring out why you want the things that you think you want.
Okay. Do you have some exercise for that?
Yeah, I can play with you, and then they can do the same here.
You will demonstrate it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what have you been trying to get that you can't get?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think some feeling of I'm on the right path in my life.
Because what will that give you?
Feeling of I'm happy. If I will be on the right path, I will be happy.
You can see that that's just a belief, right?
That's a really fair. Okay.
Do you think that birds stress out about that?
Birds. No.
Why? They're happy.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I think I have some belief that, or had some belief that I have to do something to be happy.
Exactly. So what does happiness look like to you?
What is happening to like feeling of freedom, light, joy.
Okay, all those things that you're describing, it's abstract. Do you see that? Like everybody has a picture in their head of what happiness looks like. Where are you living? What are you eating? What are you wearing? Tangible. What is that? Tell me about that. This is, do you see how this is the dominant problem in the group? you're demonstrating exactly what you're saying. There's a lack of clarity around what you actually want.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happiness is tangible for me. Like,
I can tell you happiness is tangible for anyone in this room. But that's the thing, like, you need to make it clear. You gotta get clear about it. So pretending that this is a computer game. You get to design your version of happiness. That means if you don't put you're gonna put in, the universe is not gonna put you anywhere. So where would you be living? Who would you be with?
if I don't, they say in Costa Rica. Sometimes I'm feeling I want to like travel alone, and yeah.
Traveling alone looks like happiness.
Yeah, I'm scared of that too.
But I want you, so before we continue, I just want you to recognize what an issue it would be if, let's say you are an extension of God, right? So it's almost like God puts himself in the form of you down here on the planet, and now you're going, but then you're like, I don't know why things aren't happening for me.
And then you wonder why things are not happening for you.
You're waiting for some.
I'm not waiting for
That's what you're saying. Like if you're not clear,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
you're
sure.
saying,
Clear.
I think I'm not clear in my what of my intentions.
Desires.
Desires.
Desire leads life. Desire leads evolution. Desire leads expansion. All of it. So, like, you have to become so clear about desire and about why you want the things you want. Because if you're not clear about what you want, you will run down the road that you don't actually want to be running on. And this universe is not going to support that. It'll feel like you're working against the universe that we want.
You're not even getting a good connection here tonight.
can she maybe switch off her video?
So we can talk that in a pairs like exercise or
Yes, pairs exercise. You want to start getting, and there's no question that's off limits, right? When it comes to getting your desires and what your desires are, every question is gonna help.
okay.
So, like you sit pairs, and the attitude needs. Our prerogative is to figure out exactly what a desire is and why. But oftentimes when you question someone about why they want something, you'll find out that what they want is actually different than what they're saying. So like a person in the previous scenario may not want money, what they want is to be respected. So then it can be about, right, what steps do we take and what do we that take us to respect? It's not about money. Does that make sense or no?
No.
You do understand that, like, if what you really want is respect, and I spend an hour trying to help you get money, it's not going to work. Okay. But like, I swear to God, you guys, like, this group is actually quite simple. Like, it's work around desire.
I think we feel some relief.
There are people that understood what she said, so yeah.
So, if you want to tell us more about this topic, or you can look for the question.
Maybe she has an example, like with her.
I want to talk more about the topic.
Okay.
I'm going to keep playing with you, okay?
You want to play with her?
Yes.
Say yes, yes.
Yes.
I'm muting the microphone when you want to speak to have a better connection.
Okay. So, we've established that one of the biggest issues is that you don't actually know what happiness would look like for you, right?
Yes.
Then what have you been going after? Like, why have you been moving forward at all if you don't know what you want?
Are you playing with me?
Yes? I'm demonstrating the kind of questioning that you got to use with each other when you're doing this one process. We're just trying to understand you in every way we can. I think they does.
Because I think I somehow find through doing, through experience. I had an experience that yeah, like a lot of things I know I like because I experienced what I don't like. So yeah.
So what do you know that you like?
Yeah. I like that it's interesting because I think I like the things which I'm still not doing sometimes. Like I really be like in some meditative calm state, like, and I'm really in a most of the time in a stress and don't have time or don't make time for that peace, for example. Yeah, sometimes it looks for me like I'm not learning from my experience.
Well, this is the thing. It's not that you're not learning something, that an aspect of you doesn't agree with the aspect of you that thinks that you're learning something. So, for example, you might have learned at some point here an aspect of you that you like being in a calm meditative state. But another part of you watched people in the world, especially growing up, and learned that the only way to not have problems is if you're really controlling. So when you get those two parts of you against each other, you can't go anywhere. You're in a tug of war between the part of you that's like, let's just calm down and meditate, the part that's like, that's not going to do anything, fuck you. Like, no, we're not sitting down. This is not meditative hour. You're going to be running. You're going to be figuring it out. Otherwise, you're going to starve to death, right? So it's the war between those parts of you. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. and yeah, and sometimes I have feeling like if I would not do this, I'm missing something.
Yes. None of that spells desire. That.
Okay. So the desires are something else, or
None of the, there's no purity to the desire that you express in any of it. It's just like, I think that I should be doing life this way because it might feel better one day, but this other side of me doesn't think so. None of it is clear desire. Do you feel the difference between the words you're using? The words demonstrate energy quite well. So when you're saying, well, I'm trying this out because I think that would feel good if I'm in that state. Do you feel the energy there?
again, please?
Just feel, when I say those words, just feel it. Feel those words. I think it will feel good if, you feel that? Now try this on. I know what I want worse than anything is to be in a state where I feel peace within myself. Totally different. One of them commands energy. The other makes all the energy in the universe kind of go, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah. I thought something scary about the confidence you had in the second sentence.
Exactly. So at some point, you learn that desire is dangerous.
Yeah.
That's this whole group. Is everyone here? To desire is dangerous. For most people, it's because of disappointments and things like that. But so you're too careful with desires. Like you don't even trust your own preferences. And because of that, you are pulling the momentum out of your own manifestations.
A lot of time when I need to decide, I feel like if I decide the wrong way, I don't. It will be like really wrong for me.
Yes.
How do you go for your desire despite past disappointments?
What was that?
How do you go for your desire despite past disappointments?
Okay, so this is ready. This is everything, you guys. What I'm about to say to you, this is going to transform your whole paradigm. That very question is the problem. Because the word you used was despite. You can't ever proceed forward unless all of you is on board. So I want you to like realize that as if these are two different personalities inside you. They are both part of you. You cannot cut one off. It is not possible. It is part of you. So you can never move forward despite that aspect. So it's all about, like, let's pretend you are in a long-term relationship with a Siamese twin. You guys understand the concept of Siamese twins, right? You guys know what that is or not?
Yeah.
Well, so if you have a Siamese twin, that person has another brain and you're shit out of luck if they wanted to do something different than you, right? What are you supposed to do? What you have to do is develop a relationship that's good enough that you're able to make decisions cohesively. What cannot happen for a Siamese twin is one person saying, I want to go left, and the other saying, I want to go right. It isn't an option. So I want you to think about this. If one of you says, I want that thing, and I'm going to go get it despite you, what is the relationship the other one's going to have to you? It's going to be torment, pain, distrust. And because that's your body, you will feel it all. So the answer is, you've got to turn in the opposite direction. So most of us, when we've got these other personalities that are pulling in the opposite direction, we turn our back to them and we pull against them. We have to turn in the direction of them and start to caretake them. So it's about, okay, let me understand without judging you as wrong. Let me understand why you want the things you want, why you don't want to go in the direction that I want to go, how we could make that better. Is there some trauma there? You essentially become your own best friend in this way. And that's the only way to create that kind of success that you've been wanting. If you've got that aspect that's playing tug of war game. Does that make sense? You guys are like, no.
What if we believe that we can't get what we want? What if we believe that we can't get what we want?
Well, that's the side of you too, and it wasn't born that way. So it's about going back to when that belief started. You don't have a baby who's born on the planet and is like, you know what, I can't have what I want. That comes through trauma. It's a painful thing to experience being a creator in this reality and having an experience where, let's say, the people that are in charge of your life, your parents, are turning towards you and saying, no, it doesn't matter whether you want that, you can't have it. We actually experience that as a trauma because we can't resolve it. That's the definition of trauma. It's distress without resolution. So that aspect of you that's pulling, that doesn't, I don't believe I can have that, is an injured aspect of us that we need to caretake. So it's about, where did we learn this from? Validating the emotion. That's super painful. And you're right to feel that way, obviously, if you were in a situation where you couldn't get what you wanted then it's about creating that resolution. So what things can we do? What things can we say? What things can we think that actually bring us more into a space of expansion, but without forcing that aspect to change its beliefs? So I'll give you an example. And this is a practical way to deal with these aspects of you. So if you close your eyes, you guys can all do this, like I'm just going to ask you to do it right now. Okay, so if you close your eyes and you ask that you're almost like looking at a dark room behind your eyes, right? This is intuitive. So if you see that darkness, you can ask mentally to see the aspect of you that doesn't agree with what you want, for example. I want to see the aspect of me that doesn't agree with what I want. Now you're going to see an image in your mind's eye, the same way you do with imagination. That image may be a person, may not be a person. Maybe just a blob of energy, who knows? It might be like a punk. It might be you with your hair totally cut short. Who knows? Whatever shows up, this is an aspect of your personality. It's that aspect. So now you start to interact with it, with your imagination. And this is actually your being giving you the representation of that aspect of you, so you can create greater harmony with it. So you can start to question it. I mean, even by observing it, you can tell a lot about it. Like you may have had a child show up for you that's shriveled up and like curled up in the corner, so you can tell just by looking at that child that that child's terrified. So how would you interact with a terrified child? You obviously wouldn't grab it and like throw it into a fighting ring. You'd probably go over, sit it in your lap, tell it that it's right to feel the way that it feels, and that type of thing. So this is one way of engaging with that aspect of you that doesn't want to do something. So just like from personal experience, you guys can open your eyes again. Because this type of stuff, I want you to toy with it over the course of when you're hanging out together, right? But let's say that I'm sitting in a restaurant and I start to feel really uncomfortable. I will close my eyes and ask to see the part of me that is uncomfortable. So let's say it's a 7-year-old child that's like, I don't like the feeling of this restaurant. In my mind's eye, like I'm having a conversation with this part, I'll be like, what about this place is scaring you so bad? And maybe it says, well, I don't like the fact that my back is sitting to the door. So I'll be like, okay, well, I really care how you feel, so I'm going to look for a different spot to sit. So I may get up and do that. And just that subtle shift increases the level of trust and cohesion between me and that part of me. So it's creating integration of these parts that are opposing each other. Does that kind of make sense? Good. Okay, you want me to look at these questions now?
Can I get it for me, like, the question, if I get it right, like, if I have some desire I'm scared of, I don't have to push myself to act on the desire, but take care of my scare myself?
Yes, but I'm being resistant to that. What I'm telling you is that if you are in that position and you choose to just push yourself forward into getting, like, going for what you want, you are self-abusive. So it's quite a bit more than you don't have to. You literally shouldn't, unless you want things to get a lot worse for you. Yeah.
Okay, there's a request if you can repeat the exercise we can do together.
The exercise you said as the first one.
With pairs.
Okay, the first one is like sitting, let's say if you and I were doing that, right? Sitting across from each other, and let's say we were trying to figure out what you want, I would start questioning you. So what's the thing that you want the most in life right now? So let's say he says, well, let's just say, let's make it easy. He says, I really want a car, like a really great car. I'm like, okay, well, what model do you want? Like, I get really specific about it. Be like, well, what about driving that makes you feel so good? So maybe when he might say, okay, well, when I get out of it and close it and I watch people looking at the car, they think that I'm an awesome person because I'm driving such a cool car. So I go, okay, well, what's that feeling that you want? Like, why did you not get that? Where are you feeling deprived of that in your life right now? And what is them looking at you in that way getting? We're just trying to basically peel, it's almost like you've got a chunk of coal and you're trying to peel away layers to get down to this diamond, which is what they really want worse than anything. And often when you look, and then it's about exploring, okay, well, if you know that's what you like, how have you been going after that directly in your life? And what we find is that most people aren't doing that at all. They're like, oh crap, like okay, so I'm saying that what I care about more than anything is to be, for people to want me, right? People want me. Okay, well, I'm not spending my time doing that. I'm waking up at 10 o'clock, going to a job I hate, and X, Y, and Z, you see? So we start to see that our words and our thoughts and our actions have nothing to do with our desires. So when you get clear about your desires, it becomes much easier, and it's a benefit to be in a group like this, because it becomes much easier for everybody to brainstorm about what you can actually do tangibly to get there. And what happens universally when you know what you want, and you're like, I'm committed to what I want. Commitment is to put your energy entirely into something. That's all commitment is. When you say, I'm committed to this, that is a huge degree of momentum. For manifestation, it's unbelievable. So the universe basically comes behind and goes wham, like right into what you want. Because it's a focused channel of energy. You see? It's not diffused. It's not like, well, maybe if kind of, no. It's like, I want this. You're taking universal energy and going right in the direction of what you want.
So the feeling of I know what I know is like there are no doubts.
No doubts?
No doubts.
No, it's okay to have doubts. It's okay to have doubts if you're taking care of the aspect of you that has doubts, because even that changes the frequency of the doubt. But it's about commitment. See, I can, there may be a part of me who's like, okay, I'm doubting this is gonna work out. I'm afraid of it. And yet, if you're taking care of that aspect, even that aspect might say, even though I feel that way, I'm going to put all my energy into this.
Okay. So the idea is that I want it because of my inner self, not because of my beliefs.
What do you mean?
Like,
Look at the confusion around Cypher. Make you aware on one.
how can I be sure that I want this? It's not from my belief. So if it's free from my past beliefs, it's from my inner self.
Look, it's not that complicated. It's why do I want that? And why do I want that? And what does that give me? And what? So you're basically peeling it down until you're like, oh, I want to be wanted. Like, it's that simple. Do you understand how powerful it is to figure out what you want and state it? But like, if it's a pure desire like that, like to be able to stand up and say, what I want is a committed relationship. End of story. That is what I want in life. Like you should be able to feel when I say that, the impact of that. That is a huge stream of energy going into the manifestation of something. And people who are able to manifest incredible things, I mean, you've watched even people like Gandhi, who had no worldly possessions, right? If you watch people like him, even the way their energy is working, is that they're so clear about what their desire is, they're able to create that energy behind it. And commitment just means I'm putting all my energy into it. But it's literally, I don't care if I get killed. And that type of energy, look at what it does. It's unbelievable. But most of us, what we're suffering from is a situation where we wanted that, we wanted to put our energy into it. Commitment is actually a natural state for a human being. We wanted to pour all of our energy into something, but the people around us said, don't do that, it's going to lead to disaster. And then we started to risk our connection with those people by virtue of committing to the things we actually wanted. Because most people have one primary desire, and that is a secure, connected, committed relationship. And so we were basically forced to choose between that and everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that.
So, the graduation is to learn that we can have what we want and have people too. That's where the world is headed. That's where we're headed with our parenting. It's where we're headed in relationships and all of it. What if I can have my desires and go for what I want autonomously and have a secure, connected, committed relationship?
Yeah, Teal, how will you know that you really came down to the bottom line of what's your true desire behind all of the fuss?
Thematically, like when you get there, it's not going to be a mental understanding, right? It will be somatic in your body. It's like when you fall in love with somebody, I don't have to ask you how you know it. You're kind of looking at me like, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, I love this person. It's that type of a feeling in your body. So when you start to like peel it down, and you're like, oh crap. It feels like you're down to something so real and raw that you will not need to know, you will know it. You will say the words and be like, it's almost like relief. It's like 10,000 pounds falls off your shoulders and things are very clear. And you go, you're right. Now, there may be a part of me that feels like it's wrong to want that, and I can't deny it. It's that type of thing. It's kind of like, let's say somebody has to come out as gay, right? They may be fighting with it their whole life and be like, I don't know, maybe I should date another girl. I don't know, I'm not really into people. And it's like, you feel the tense energy. The day that they go, you know what, I'm gay. That's the reality. It's like, you're down to this raw, fundamental, authentic truth. And that has a very specific feeling. It's the same feeling as admitting to what you really want. So I can't describe it more than that, other than to say when you start playing with these people and you feel that feeling, you will know it. It will not be a question.
Okay. I have some friend from Prague.
Hey, Teal? I have a question. So when I find out the real what I want, I want to be awesome, for example, or something like that. What I do with that? I mean, I know.
So why? That one's not a dead end. You see? I want to be awesome is not a dead end. Because why do you want to be awesome? Like, I can still keep going with that.
Because I don't want to be left. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be left behind.
See, like, yes, you're right, but because I don't want to be left behind. Okay, well, you just said what you don't want. What does that mean you do want?
I want to be sure that there is still somebody for me. Like that I don't.
That's your ego trying to make it okay. Do you hear that? Like, what this is you're disapproving of your desire, so you don't really want to word it exactly. Okay, can I just be your inner self for 3 seconds? I want someone to think I'm so special that what they want is to be around me every day.
And okay, so when I know what I want, what shall I do? I just wait for the universe to manifest it, or?
Well, first, when you know that you want that and you're actually able to admit it, what starts to happen is you start to become aware of the thoughts that are contradicting it, the words that are contradicting it, and the actions that are contradicting it. And you can't do them anymore. So it's like this time when you go to do that thing that's not in alignment with what you just said, you'll be like, it's kind of like when you start to admit that you're gay and you try to have sex with a woman, you can't do it anymore. So you've already come one step closer to actually getting that. And so, like, for example, let's say you stop self-sabotaging. So let's say that what you want is a person to just want you more than anything. Well, then you'll probably stop wasting your time sleeping with the guy who doesn't really care whether you're there or not. You see? So what we have to get is, it's not just that the universe lends all of its energy, which it does when you admit to what you want. It's also that you stop doing the stuff that is the opposite of that.
But it's natural, right? I'm actually not forcing. It's natural within me. I start feeling.
Oh, of course, anything, trust me, is unavoidable. I'm gonna take a pee-pee break. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, everyone, do you want to talk to to Gabby, she's my blonde weenie. She's my little European. Christina and me. Hey guys. I'm from Lithuania.
What's the most horrible thing Teal do every day?
Oh my god. Well, she makes the best food and then we get to be teased about it. How are you guys? Which country are you in? Which country are you in?
The amazing Czech Republic.
The best place in the world.
So I will see you all in Prague in October?
Yes. 8th of October.
Yes. Sweet. That's awesome. And I'll see you, some of you maybe in Philly or something?
Yeah. I will be there tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. We're very excited for the training.
Yes. Do you live in Teal? He told me you live.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
For how long have you been living with her?
Couple of years. She's back.
Are you in Costa Rica now with her?
Yeah. She's in Costa Rica.
So Teal, now we know everything about you.
So, you have a question or? So, you can look for.
Or ask what you want.
Would you touch a bit more on the healing aspect of you, the stopping the desire? Like, what do you do?
Shame.
What's the final goal? Like, do you remove it? Do you kind of like say, okay, accept you?
What to do with the shame that comes up?
The one, three guys coming for a question.
Thank you so much. Hi, Teal.
Hi.
So my question is, because yeah, I do have desires, and then there are these aspects of me through the pain body or whatnot that are counteracting it, and it has to do with a lot of relationships. So yeah, so how do I what do I do with this? Like, do I heal it? Like how? Like how? But what does healing look like? What's the final outcome of this healing look like? Like, does it feel so happy I no longer think of it, or does it feel like that it can like be with me with your desire? That it's okay, the desire isn't dangerous, or is it going to disappoint it? Like, how do I heal it, and how does it look like, that feeling? What's the final, when I feel it, yes, I healed it.
When you've healed it is when you're not thinking about it in terms of something needs to change about it anymore. That's literally the change that happens, is what we mean by an inner state of peace. When you're not in a state of peace, all that means is that you, by the way, most people have a lot of Siamese twins inside them. So a state of non-peace, unpeace inside is having a lot of Siamese twins that are miserable and don't like each other and don't agree with each other, and it's basically internal war. So all it looks like is having a positive relationship between all the Siamese twins within you. So let's say that let's say one of the parts inside you is an inner child. That's just one part. All the other parts have their role relative to that child that feels good. So you've got a caretaker that nurtures it. You've got the protector that protects it. And all of them are aware of this inner child. And there's not one personality that's like, I don't want to get near that, that's your business. Right?
So if I have that inner child that needs healing, in some way I wish I didn't have to look at the past, that I could just simply be here now. I want this, I have this resistance, and
Okay, so
I just want to figure it out.
ready for this? I want you to pretend that you and I are in a relationship. we wake up in the morning and we wake up in the morning and I roll over next to you and we're laying on the pillow and I'm like, you know, honey, I can't wait for the day that you just are, I don't want to have to deal with the fact that you struggle anymore. I just can't wait for that day. What does that feel like to you?
Oh, so sweet. It felt so sweet
That's
that you felt so.
Well, he's so around that you are his wife, you know.
No, but I mean, if someone would say that to me, that energy I got from you when I felt that, I feel so sweet that you, I guess that you want to just care. It's so sweet that you want that, or that you care about that. That's
So if that's the case, we're worse off than I thought. Because it means that like your level of the level that you're used to of people caring about you is so low that you will take any form of caring, even if the caring is not pure.
Was this not pure, or I mean, I know we're role playing, but I mean, if somebody would say that to me genuinely, then yes, that's what I would feel.
Yeah, but like, okay. Oh.
I mean, it's not like I'm falling in love with you over the screen or something.
Okay. If I roll over and I say that I can't wait for the day that I don't have to keep going back here with you.
Got it. So you know what? That means it's proving of who I am right now.
Exactly. And this is what we are doing. This is what those of us who are obsessed with the healing field, this is what we do to ourselves and each other every day, all day long. Like we're unwilling to have a relationship with what is. So the attitude, and this is why it doesn't work. Like you will run into a point where you can't go any further with healing because by virtue of doing your healing work internally, the message you're sending yourself is you're fucked. So basically, there will be a part of you that desperately wanted to just be loved. That's going to be like, I can't even have a relationship with you because you're just so freaking judgmental.
I say it to myself or to the other person?
Well, no, like this is, well, it's kind of a mirror. One is a mirror of the other. But that's why I'm saying when I turned over to you on the pillow and said that was not loving. What I'm doing at that moment is saying, I need you to be different, please. I just can't wait for the day that you're different, please. And we keep doing this to the aspects of ourselves. So like using the Siamese twin analogy, this is what we're doing to these Siamese twins in us. And then what? Torn.
It's when I say that the way I am right now isn't good enough. I need to reach this and this in the state till I'm finally able to be loved.
Yes.
And a good way to self-acceptance. It feels like almost so simple. Like when you actually when you have these brief moments of clarity of what it feels so of course. And then actually it feels pretty complete, like you say. It's just that when it does come up, so when it does come up, what is a good way to integrate it, nurture it with ease?
You have to ask yourself, am I wanting this to go away right now? Am I wanting this to go away right now? How am I acting around this thing right now? It's basically the process of awareness is about being completely aware of the attitude you're holding towards something. It's not even necessarily about changing it, because even that part of you that's judging is an aspect of you that's judging for a very good reason. You see? We're not bored judgmental either. We start to judge when we want to distance ourselves from unsafe things. So we have to, the aware ego stands in between these two aspects. And it goes, interesting. This one is judging, which means it just doesn't feel safe. And this one is being judged, which also doesn't feel good. Now, what can I say or do two aspects that helps them get along better and helps me get along better with both of them. We gotta create a good relationship here because we're Siamese twins, for example.
So say there's an aspect of me that has an anxiety about something.
Yes.
And then one.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. I figured out how to do it. Ready? If you had an anxiety about something and I was your wife, what would you want me to do?
So I won't really want you to do anything. I want this anxiety to go away. Like I wish I didn't have to deal with it if I. Okay, but
The only
because of what?
no, the only reason you want it to go away is because you don't think that I can be there with it.
So I don't think I could have a wife and anxiety at the same time.
Yes. So, assuming that you could have anxiety and a wife at the same time, how would you want me as your wife to respond to your anxiety?
I mean, from a logical point of view, I'd want you to accept. I mean, I am who I am. I have many qualities, and have anxiety about certain things is a part of it. And everybody has anxiety about something.
Hey, that's you're justifying. That is how much you disapprove of this aspect of you. Can I tell you what I do and how it feels?
Yes.
Okay, if I was your wife and you were having anxiety, I would first notice that you're having anxiety. Now I realize, okay, if he's having anxiety, then he's having anxiety for a good reason. Then something's happening here that's not okay for him. So my priority would be, okay, I gotta check in with you, what's wrong? We gotta figure out what's going wrong, what is not feeling good right now. But I wouldn't do so from an attitude of like, what? Everything should be fine. You see the difference? I'd be coming at you with like, I really want to understand this. Like, let's look around, let's together. Let's like look around and figure out what's not feeling good. So I might take you to a place where you feel safer, like where it's just the two of us. And I can be like, okay, so what about this doesn't feel good right now? And I'd be patient, see if you could voice it. Then when you voice it, I'd be like, you know, that makes sense. The first thing I do is validation. That makes sense to me why that would be scary for you or why that wouldn't feel good for you because I know a lot about you. And knowing a lot about you, that would make me feel super uncomfortable too. So what can we do right now that would make this better? Do you want to leave? Do you want to stay here? Do you want me to do something different? I want to make this different for you so that you feel better in this scenario, or we leave. You see that?
How does that connect back to if I'm just by myself and I want to put that anxiety at ease?
You do the same thing for that part of you. See, this is a Siamese twin. So you do that for that part of you.
And then, just as a last part, I should put it into a bullet point summary. So when I accept it, I listen to it. I realize, yes, they have good reasons why it is there, why this anxiety is there. Now,
Yes,
I
so
can
you,
do differently to ease that anxiety.
yes, but the first thing is that you got to notice it, and that's the problem. You're not catching it at square one. Does that make sense, Cameron? Like you're noticing your anxiety when you're already at level 10. That's not attuned. You got to start to notice the minor reactions you have when you walk in somewhere and you're like, whoa, you know, this doesn't feel good. You got to notice that. That's when you need to start caretaking yourself, not when you have a huge breakdown.
That is very good because it applies then to the smaller anxieties I have socially, generally, and they connect in the same way.
And the main reason, though, that you have anxiety, by the way, anyone in this room who has anxiety, this is the case. The main reason you have anxiety is because you can't trust yourself. Because when you get into situations that don't feel good, it turns into a war inside you, where one side of you doesn't have the best interest of the other one at heart. So the discourse, the conversation happening inside you is more like one part saying, I have anxiety, it scares me, and the other part being like, you have no fucking reason to be scared, there's nothing going wrong right now, you're ridiculous. us. Maybe you need more pills. We gotta go to a Teal Swan workshop. Right? So it's that's anxiety. If I was living with that internally, I would be anxious all day long. So it's that dynamic that's causing the anxiety, first and foremost. And you'll notice when you start to develop a trusting relationship between these Siamese twins within, you will not have as much anxiety. Because you'll trust yourself. Make sense?
Yeah, actually does. It actually does. Like how easily I can apply it with different situation. But
Yes.
I feel the general it would help to meditate on something as well. Like if I meditate on a Siamese twin, that he would kind of reveal himself to me and understand it better.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was trying to do with you guys earlier. Yes. Become aware of them as if they're separate people. So like you're in self.
Alright, I think I can roll with that.
Okay.
Thanks.
So we have about 10 more minutes before we need to go.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, some other questions here?
Do you have time for one more question, or do you have to go like right now?
I have to, in 5 minutes, I have to be wrapping up the conversation because I have to be going back to Philia.
Thank you.
Hi, Teal.
Huh?
Yeah, I would like to ask you something I think a lot about, and that's like shadow work versus being a creator.
Okay.
So basically, I've been following the shadow work you do with our community here, and I took it to the extreme. Like when I wake up in the morning and I don't want to get out of the bed, I do completion process on myself, and I basically found that this is not getting me very far. I did some improvement, but basically I stay at some level, and I found another direction. Like I was visiting Joe Dispenza's workshop of empowerment, and I found like I don't have to treat every like emotion I have. I just can tune in what I really want, and basically change my state of being. And then I'm kind of confused because you teach like almost from your teaching I have a feeling like every emotion is a inner child that has to be taken care of. But from the other direction of like being a creator, it seems like maybe I have these bad emotions just because I don't move forward. Because I'm just like being stuck, like as you talk about the masculine energy is like moving forward. And when I don't move forward and I'm just being taken care of, the child, that part of me is suffering, and the bad emotions I create, it's not like the past trauma that has to be taken care of, but maybe it's just me not doing anything and just doing completion processes on like my laziness or something, you know. So it's kind of like there are two directions. I can take care of these pains and emotions, or I can actually create the emotions I want. But in this case, I have like a fear, like maybe do I neglect some negative emotions? Am I escaping from something, or can I actually create right now what I want? So like how to balance these two approaches, or
You don't try to balance them. And actually they go hand in hand quite well. But the problem is that you, as a person, practice self-abusive spirituality. So the problem isn't that you've been doing like completion processes. Wait, I can't hear you because you turned off the sound.
I need to record this one.
Okay. So you specifically are practicing self-abusive spirituality. And the problem isn't that you're doing completion process and stuff like that. It's that there's a judgment that happens before you start doing the process, which is, I need to fix this, I need to change this. You know, it's basically this attitude towards yourself that there's something really, really wrong with you. And even in your energy of wanting to manifest something, it's in there too, because it's like, I need to get away from what is. I need to create something else. Like, it's all resistance to who you are, how you feel, and where you are. So like, I know that sounds interesting, and this is a very specific nuance, but it's possible for you to do emotional work with the attitude of, my emotions are not okay. But that is no different than being a horse trainer who's decided horses are not okay.
So basically,
Do you feel that energy?
yeah. But then what shall I do with that? It's like the healing trap you were talking about or something.
It is exactly that. And that is your issue, and it's why you'll get caught with shadow work in a loop of no return. So basically, what you have to notice is, and it's a testament actually to your level of awakening that you've run into this last pitfall, which is that the very reason I'm even doing this is self-abusive. It's self-neglectful. It's, fill in the blank. So all of your focus with your spiritual practice has got to be oriented in the direction of, can this be okay?
Oh, I hate this one. I hate this one, and I hate when you advise this to people at workshops. Like, just be okay with what is. I fucking hate this, and I fucking want to manifest anything else.
No, I know, but feel that energy.
Sorry?
All I want you to notice is that energy. I just want you to notice that energy. It's not like, I'm not asking you to love what is if what is sucks. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to notice, just notice how painful it is to be constantly feeding yourself with the message, this feeling has got to change, this circumstance has got to change, this thought has got to change, this part of me has to change. Like, it's a very harsh, it's almost like you're turning on like a meat grinder to yourself every day. So it's like you run the risk of your spiritual practices being like your tool that you're flagellating with, like Catholics used to do. And when that's the case, no matter what you do, it doesn't feel good. Like that's what I'm saying. You will run into a thing where it's like, it doesn't fucking matter whether I do shadow work or whether I'm focusing on feeling whatever. Like, I will dead end no matter what, because it's a part of you that's putting its foot down, that's saying, you get to stop disapproving of me and try and change me 24 hours a day.
Yeah. So, okay, so you basically advise me to observe this feeling of like me using these tools to like basically in a self-hating manner, right?
Yep. There's a whole different frequency of shadow work. When you're using shadow work because you want to understand yourself, it's a completely different thing than using shadow work because you need to fix yourself. Like, it's same thing, completely different energy. And I know that you've felt this feeling because there's a difference between like a friend, a really good friend, who sits down in front of you and is like, talk to me. And like a doctor who sits down and says, talk to me.
Are we connected?
I'm run out of the data.
Oh!
In the middle of my question. Are we connected?
Yes, now.
Okay. So basically, what would you advise if I still want to move forward? I want to expand. I want to manifest new things, and it's quite frustrating. Something holding me up, and
Yeah, you ready for this?
yeah.
I'm going to get aggressive with you about it, but I'd rather get aggressive with you now than have you manifest something like cancer to get this.
Okay.
Right? What you've got to do in that scenario is to pretend as if it's not going to be possible to get better.
Oh my God. Okay.
So this is what you're going to do. It's mentally, this is how you stop running away from yourself. I'm going to pretend today that it's never going to change. This is not going to change. I'm not going to get better. I'm not going to be in a better position. So given that, how would I behave differently towards myself, differently towards this aspect? It's what people have to do when they like lose limbs in accidents, things like that. They have to be like, all right. Assuming as of today, I'm never going to grow my arm back. I have lost my arm. Where does my energy go now? That's the kind of attitude. And so you start to live with it, not live hating it. Does that make sense? And when that happens, this is important, because when that happens, there's a subtle change. Not subtle, it's huge, but for you it'll feel subtle. There's a subtle change that happens, where now the reasons that you're going about doing the things you're doing isn't to resist part of you. And so it happens very fast, like your manifestations are just that quick.
Okay, that sounds really good. that sounds really good, because from your other, as I saw on workshops, I had the resistance, I had to basically agree that this will be my life forever or something. So as you say now, it sounds much better, because it sounds like I can actually find self-love through this process, and still satisfied enough about it, want some progress and some movement and some manifestations.
Well, when you want progress and movement from a space of I love myself is different from progress and movement because I hate this aspect of myself. Do you see that?
Yeah.
But I'm going to warn you about a pitfall, okay? Now that I've told you that this is the way to actually manifest faster, right? You see? No?
Yeah. I can fall into this again, right? Yeah, but actually I feel much better after you tell me this. There is some hope in this process. Yeah, I feel it.
Okay, I have to go back to Philia. I actually ran, the internet cut out at Philia today. So I had to go into town, which is where I am right now.
Wow.
But I'm going to go back.
No,
But I want one fire. What?
One big what?
Again, please. Again.
Mic is off.
Mic is off.
You're not on.
Yeah, turn the mic on. Turn the mic on. Yeah. One more.
There,
One
there you
more.
go.
Yeah.
What did you say? We could not hear you.
Last time.
Last time?
My final words. I work on the desire thing.
Yeah.
Just because when you get clear about that, I can tell you how much better your manifestations will go. And you can help each other once you figure out what you really, really want. You can help each other try and figure out how to get that. And it's incredible to involve each other in that process. Because other people see opportunities we don't see. Trust me, they'll suggest something, you'll be like, oh my God, it's so obvious, but it's not usually obvious to us. So yeah, that's what we should be doing. Sound good? Okay, love you guys, have fun. Oh, you're in trouble. You are in trouble this week. I am coming after you this week. Quiet? with you, I already have plans. What? You look so nervous. I said I already have plans. This next week I'm gonna break you, but in like the best way possible. Like it's almost like cracking open your potential. I have a huge plan. So yeah, just like get ready. You should crash.